Yeah. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time for those that might be listening to the podcast or anything like that. Up above, a few things to promote this week. I have released the February audiobook. I have stated previously I'm trying to put one out every month this year, and luckily was able to meet that goal for the month of February. And this month's release is Investigating the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Started its life as a video series with Chrissy Pressman, and it is now an ebook and audiobook, kind of repurposing some of that media, making it available in different formats. Additionally, Heidi tweeted out a post for her book, so I put that up there because I feel like, she doesn't do it quite enough. If you haven't checked out the Songless series, The Desert, she's working on the follow-up to that, as well as a novella that features one of the characters, and I've been reading through it, beta reading it for her, and it's coming along. She's got a really good story in there, and I think her draft that she passed me is about 19,000 words. So a decent, manageable length if you're not ready to get into 400 pages quite yet. Next is Chris Hackett's Space Tomorrow. We are the Film 3. We are talking with Nim. It's a video platform that gives users access to a few different video generation tools. So, tune in for that. And we get to talk with Yuri, who is the founder, CEO, engineer behind it. I'm not totally certain everything that he does over there, and that's what the conversation's for, luckily. Also, because it's been 2 weeks since we did this space, I, in the interim period between last time and this time, released the Anunnaki Origin of Sumeria video. The link up above is for YouTube, but the video's here on Twitter as well. It's in that thread, but I'm trying to get people watching it on YouTube. I'm trying to get the algorithm to pick it up. So if you can, head over there and give it a look. You can put it on all of your favorite devices, whether that's TV or your tablet or whatever, and see it maybe a little bigger than on your phone. That's not to say that it's not good on Twitter. I'm pretty sure I loaded it up here at 1080. So, the quality is good. It's just, I feel like that's a mobile experience in general. And if you want to get the whole kind of cinematic scope of it all, then you might want to watch it on TV. That's how I like checking stuff out. Shout out Big Love and Kick It. They got a Roku channel where I've got some videos released, and a bunch of other stuff is on there too. If you have Roku, you might want to give it a shot. Download their channel, no charge as it is right now. So let's start the talk. Anybody that wants to come up, grab a mic. As always, it works better when it's a conversation and I'm not just talking at you. Right now I'm wiping my nose because I've got, like I said, some sinus issues this week. Who doesn't? But if I have to sneeze, I'm going to try and mute my mic with enough time. So I might randomly do that. So you don't have to listen to me sneezing, because that's annoying, I imagine. Some stuff I've been working on, and this is, deep inside track here. I'm wrapping up a short story that's about 6,000 words. It's with beta readers currently. They're giving me feedback. I'm about to work on the next draft, kind of wrap up that story. I think I'm going to get it out in ebook form in April, and then the audiobook will come out in May. So that is the culmination of a lot of work. 6,000 words on a short story is a lot for me. It takes a long time for me to do the research and writing. But what I've found in that is it's helped me to develop my process for future stories. So I actually started outlining 2 more short stories. What was it? President's Day on Monday. So spent a little bit of time kind of digging into that stuff and seeing where those stories are going to go, where the beats are going to fall, trying to keep it well paced. And I think that that's useful. The tool that I used, and we talked about this yesterday on the Space with Heidi, is the Lester Dent Pulp Fiction outline. So I really like that as a tool for pacing. And hey, what's up, Heidi? Yeah, grab a mic. Was actually, your ears must have been ringing because I was just talking about the Lester Dent piece that we had yesterday. I should post that up actually. I think it's a really good tool in general, and I would say if you haven't checked it out and you want something that kind of dials into just something that's like a matrix or a rubric for kind of crafting stories, take advantage of that. Hey, she's coming up. I won't jeopardize the mic. Heidi, you're here. We're hanging out. How is it? What are you doing?
Give me 1 minute and I'll talk.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, so I'll just kind of continue with some of the stuff I was chatting about. Yeah, trying to get that material into shape because I want to release, what is for me longer short stories like once a year. It takes a long time for me to write it amidst all of the other stuff that I'm doing, but try and keep them kind of regularly paced. Oh, also the based book sale was going on. If you took advantage of that, there were a slew of books that are either 99 cents or less, many for free, that just huge collections of stuff. I think there were like 300 books on there. The next one will be this summer, I think June or July. So if you end up putting something together that you can put out on KDP that you feel comfortable discounting or making regularly available for 99 cents or less, you can participate in that book sale. And, it sells books, sold books for me. Can't complain about working together on social media to kind of network and promote. I would think that's a really great tool. And the guy who spearheads that is Hans Schantz. Had him on the podcast last month. So if you want to learn about him and what he's released, what he, his approach to not only his writing and releases, but also, the book sale, take a listen. I would say it's up on my YouTube and Spotify and all the rest of the podcast platforms. Heidi, do we have you?
Yes, you do. Sorry.
Perfect. All good.
Man, I didn't know I was going to get called upon so quickly. No, you sound like you're sick, Michael.
I was sick yesterday.
Yeah, but you sound sicker today. I can hear it in your voice now.
Perfect. Great.
It's okay. Nobody's judging. I hope you feel better.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad about, I don't know if anyone in here caught the based book sale. I mean, as in getting your work in it other than you. I did not. But you sort of answered my first question. So I guess there's another one in the summer. You say he does it about every 6 months. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say seasonally, but there's also talk about doing some smaller niche sales that would be genre focused. So that's kind of developing. We'll see what comes out of it. I don't know necessarily how they're going to partition the genres. That's kind of like in development. We'll see, if it becomes something that people want and want to participate in, that might be useful. I think one of the issues people have is that because there were 300 listings and he does a comprehensive release on his Substack of everything that's included, it's a lot to wade through. And some people feel like, it's difficult to find some of the smaller releases or things in there because going through 300 titles is you're in a bookstore. It's a lot. So that's the thinking, is like do something a little bit smaller and tighter, niche
Are
wise.
they? Yeah, well, are they broken up? Does he sort of set it up sort of marketing wise where it's like fiction,
Yeah.
romance, fantasy? So at least you kind of can pick a section to look in. So
Yeah.
that's helpful. That's helpful.
And
So
I would imagine that a lot of those books are still for sale at 99 cents. Like,
yeah.
all of my stuff is still, because technically, like, 3 of the 4 titles I had in there are regularly priced at 99 cents. So they're always at that price. It's just that you have to be at that rate to get included in all of the promotion and stuff.
Well,
Um,
that's hard. I mean, do people, when they go into their, do they put stuff, they just drop it for the sale and
yeah.
then raise the price back up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not that might be an interesting conversation about how to price your work
Oh, yeah.
in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And like that's the thing too. Like, for my stuff it's pretty short. I can't price a lot of my stuff cheaper than 99 cents. KDP doesn't allow it. So, um if you want to do like the exclusivity sort of things where you can put things on sale, where you can kind of offer them for free, then that's an option. But I'll tell you what, like, the purchases versus the free downloads, I mean, it's 100 to 1 in terms of sales versus the free downloads. It moves units, so he's definitely onto something and is like doing well with it. I think that they sold maybe 2,500 books or something.
Well, everybody likes a sale,
Right.
and I think people are willing to take. I mean, I think it's something to really consider because even if you're selling it for 99 cents, I mean, it might get enough things out there. You might be able to get, if you're lucky, some of those people, I mean, there's probably a percentage of people who will read something and then actually write a review. So I would say I mean, I know there's a number out there. Is it something like for every 100 people you get one review or something?
Tough to say.
But or it could be less. I mean, but I would say, I mean, there's a percentage. It's like
Sure.
not everybody reviews a
Right.
book, maybe 1 out of 4 or something.
Gosh, much lower than 1 out of 4, but um, the
Well, yeah, probably. That's why I
the
said 1 out of 100.
yeah, sure, that's probably closer. There's a downstream effect to it in terms of the networking too. So like, gain followers on Substack, gain followers on Twitter, gain followers on my Amazon page as well. So, in that way, you're able to connect with people, folks that are interested in authors or books, or you particularly as a writer or author. So it, there's the meta value beyond just
Well,
the
yeah.
units and the profitability of it.
No, yeah, I mean, I can sort of see that. I mean, I've always been reticent, and I mean, I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts on this, but I've always been reticent of just throwing something out there and giving it away for free because, you put some, and the dogs, I don't know if you guys can hear them, but
Hey, pup.
um, oh God, I'm sorry, I can't think when they do this. Um, they because you put so much work into something, and if like you give it away for free for a day, and that's like 100 books out, and that's like maybe all that you do. So there's like there's no kind of return other than 100 people got your book for free. But I mean, at some point, as you're releasing, this is something I think as you go forward to releasing more material, you can start doing these sales and stuff. At least I think, I mean, I mean, if I'm just thinking off the top of my head, because my stuff's big and I spend a lot of time and effort and stuff. So selling it for 99 cents is kind of painful. I
Well,
gotta admit, but at the same time, I can see that there are some advantages as a loss leader, so to speak, as long as you have more things coming down the pipe. That it's
absolutely.
that's really where it has to be. So to me, it's like, I guess I am just speaking about my own personal situation. Once I have the other 2 books out, it makes sense to put, like, at least one of them in it to get people to come into my world, so to speak. And I mean, and that's what you're talking about, but I think, it's kind of an interesting thing he set up because I don't know of a lot of opportunities like that. I mean, this is something to look into.
Yeah, for sure. I've done it twice. I did it in December and obviously this month, and can say that it has sold books. I'm above my averages, and this is something that you and I have talked about, and I've kind of talked around a little bit, is how much tracking I'm doing in terms of data now that I started last year, earlier in the spring, so about a year ago, where basically I'm taking all of the data from all the platforms, putting it into spreadsheets, and tracking all that stuff, trying to understand where the value is and where the trends are, and kind of seeing where I can be effective. So this stuff that I learned right out of the gate is that my national parks material has performed better than I had at a glance thought, and additionally learned that audiobooks sell 2 to 1 for me. So that is what has led me to do not only the audiobook once a month for this year, but also to begin extending the national parks material into like standalone releases that are Amazon Audible exclusives.
Well, yeah, audiobooks. There's a lot of advantages to audiobooks. I mean, just for readers or listeners, slash listeners. And I think we really need to pay more attention to that. I don't think anyone's snubbing them anymore. Am I right?
I
I
don't
don't.
think I don't think so at all. I mean, there's the argument that it's not really reading, and I would say that that's not unfair. There's definitely the side of things where if you're listening to something, you might be busy doing other stuff, so you're not fully kind of cognitively invested. And the other side of it is that you're not necessarily uh, actually absorbing words physically through your eyes. Um, so there's certainly that side of things. Like reading does something different than listening does. It's going to activate different parts of the mind and the brain. But uh, in terms of getting a story, internalizing a story, and participating in a story, I think both do that. I don't like audiobooks for really technical material, but I do like them for fiction, and I do like them for like pop sci type of stuff. I think it works well enough in those genres because it is more narrative focused, and I don't think it takes away from the characters and stuff. Now that said, there's some things that just don't work the same way. Um, Argument to be made for stuff like Infinite Jest or Pynchon's releases, where some of the wordplay is not necessarily as evident uh, in audio as it is on the page, and like that's fair, but there's no one stopping you from physically reading as well as listening simultaneously. So it's an option. Puppy, you got your hand raised. What's up? How are you?
Hi, just had a thought. Appreciate the space. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Michael. Hi, everybody. Well, I don't know what portion of your readership are visually impaired, but that's important to think about too in terms of access. I realize when you're independently publishing, you're absorbing sort of through sweat equity and all that. It costs you more. Although Michael, I have no idea, but I just have to tell you, after listening to the spaces where I can't remember our friend who's from Wales, and Heidi, you know what I mean, and the British guy where they were reading the
Carrie?
Silmarillion. Yeah, Carrie. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Will.
Yeah, both of them. But I'm thinking there are different performance levels. And for some of these productions, they have multiple cast members or they have a famous actor or a person who talks like Will. Will could read me a cereal box and I'd listen, that kind of thing. In fact, I was just pretending too, and thinking, most audiobooks, there's kind of a fine line between injecting a lot of drama in your voice, but also having I don't know what to say, intoning at a certain pace. It's not the same as, say, a full-on theater production, right? Beforth, what hast thou? Why? It's not like that, but it's kind of partway in between.
It can be like that, though.
There's a range. It can be. And that's kind of what I'm saying is I just had this thought about, if it's about introducing as wide a range of people in as many ways as possible, and there are differences. And I was thinking what you were saying about Pynchon, I don't know, because remember we had that space months ago. I'm too scared of Pynchon. I know, I promise. I'll try. But is some of it the way it's visually laid out too?
No.
Have you? Okay, because there are some. There's some fiction I've read where that's part of it. With poetry, that's certainly. I don't know. Can you show via the voice all the same breaks that you could show seeing it written? I don't know if I'm making sense. So I'm just throwing those out there. I think there's a big market there. And one thing I've been noticing too, because I loved reading to my kids. I love listening. I like absorbing the content however I can. And I see your point. There have been times, but it wasn't so much fiction where I was listening to something where I'm wanting to learn facts about my health or whatever, where I will, if I'm listening while partially distracted by something else, I will go back and re-listen. So I see what you're saying about concentration. And final point, interestingly, my mom, who's 92, I'm very close with, who's got a pretty severe hearing impairment and uses hearing, supports, but they're always imperfect. I thought that she would love audiobooks, but because her brain has to work so much harder to process audio information, given what she's dealing with, she actually reads. She loves reading much more, and to listen to an audiobook for her. So I'm saying it's not, you can't sort of assume different things. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out. I appreciate you. And Michael, congratulations you're such a great role model at setting productivity goals. I mean, at many things and moving through them. And you're inspiring me. And I've got something I'm working on that I'll wait to announce during the writer's space.
I love it. Well, you can announce it here. This is a writer's space. You're allowed.
Okay. Well, I've decided I don't know if this makes sense. One of the things I'm thinking of working on is sort of I'm a lawyer, right? Like teaching people in baby steps about the U.S. Constitution, because most people don't have a chance to go to law school, but they can read. So anyway, that's one thought. The other thought, I'm really inspired by, I want to re-listen to the part that I had to miss, and I'm sorry, I'm so tired. The short story having application to writing short pieces of nonfiction. So I am segregating little bits of stuff that I know. We all know different stuff, and then trying to convey it in a simple way. And so I don't have a specific one yet, but I have an idea, and I'm saving little bits of research. I'm organizing how I'm saving them so that I can be more thoughtful about what I'm saying. So it's kind of a little vague at this point, but that's kind of it. Like does anyone feel like that? Like we each go down certain rabbit holes. I don't know. Maybe you've studied the monarch butterfly and you know everything there is. Not everyone has time to do that. And a final note, there are books, aren't there, Heidi and Michael? Like there's a book called Salt, a book called Apples. I kind of like that. And so how could I incorporate a little bit that's rigorously correct with, whatever, science, law, whatever, that I'm being accurate. And in law, if you're saying, hey, well, I think this means this, you have to tell the court. But that's just an argument, the other side may disagree, and here's a case that says this, because it's a back and forth. But that's what I mean. Facts matter to me. And so it's made me kind of think, well, how do I know that? Do I really know that? So I don't know if this makes sense. So I'm going to take different topics like that. And I have a list written out, but the list is way too long.
Well, that's okay. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to cram too much into even thinking of online or verbal communications, right? If I'm just blathering versus having an arc and a point and a whatever. So that's what I'm thinking. And it's percolating, so it's vague. But anyway, I'm always inspired by your creative spaces. I don't want to take up more than my share of the discussion space, though. So thank you.
It's all good. This is what I would say is take advantage of blogging and hone your arcs through writing material that you can release in that way. If you don't think it's, if you don't want to take the time to put out a book, or if you want to build an audience around these genre specific pieces, then that's totally viable. And I would say do it.
Oh my God. I just realized, Michael, sorry, this is my ADHD and the daughter got up. Part of why I thought of that was you mentioned book reviews. Okay. And I apologize, Heidi. I've been a chicken shit. I want to write a review of your book. So our book reviews could also be, right, a little. I know, Heidi, here I am, this retired lawyer. I've written billions of words. It's just feeling. So I know what Michael's going to say, and you're going to say, get the first draft out as ugly. But I'm wondering, there are reviews you like to read that you find useful. I do. Informative as a reader. And I was also going to say, I bought some 99-cent things as an introduction to the author and then gone on to buy works from them. So, and maybe that's just a sample of one, but anyway, so I threw out a bunch of topics, as is my wont. But book reviews, not, if you're interested in that, I haven't put my finger quite, but you don't like the review that's just a couple stars. It's like, well, so, but what is it that makes you think that makes a review effective?
Well, a couple things I would say. One, on your idea of like writing to a niche thing, like, the apple, the salt thing, that would be a great sort of Substack to start. You know what I mean? If you want to do it about law, where that was the first thing I thought. It's like, I think that's the best medium for that. And then you could put the links on here, since we've all decided we're going to put links on here, right? So, that's the first thing I would say. And then I would do it like a blog. So I would like maybe just start out by saying I'm just going to do like 1,500 words. So, or 2,000 words, like a feature story, that's roughly their length, like 1,500 words. And just do that and just write to a little niche thing and just start doing that, because that could be really interesting with your background, So
yeah, it's kind of like it would be personal, right? Because it's this is what I know and how I see things. Yeah,
exactly. So on that, and in terms of reviews, I mean, I think there's two ways from my perspective. There's two ways of looking at them. Like, reviews are, and I'm sure Michael has a concept of this too. To me, reviews are, so like from an author point of view, I want as many people to write reviews as possible, so that, because when I scroll on Amazon, I start looking through reviews to see what people say about the book. And the more there are, the more likely I am to pay attention to that book. So it's like, from the author perspective, it's like numbers for me, definitely at this point, right? Now, in terms of review, I mean, even if you just put a paragraph up, I'm like grateful. I'm profoundly grateful, because I just need numbers at this point. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
But that's the most helpful thing that, we can all do for each other if we've purchased each other's works, right? And go review them on Amazon.
Here's something.
Okay. May I just one can I just
Yeah, keep
real
going.
quickly, in terms of review as an art form, yeah, that's an option too. But um, I don't know that Amazon's going to give you a place to do that. That again, to me, you'd have to go like on do that on Goodreads. Those are the people who are going to appreciate that more, right?
I
I
mean,
don't
you
know.
can put them on both.
Yeah, but I mean, but from the author's perspective, being an author, I will say that I just want them. Obviously, I want them to all be 5 stars, right? But it is what it is. But I would say that. But if your goal is to be able to write reviews artistically, that's a thing, and I will stop there.
So here's an interesting inversion of things. As an author, I want people to review or rate the work because that helps it algorithmically. As a buyer and a reader of books, I do not care about reviews at all. It is completely inconsequential to me as a reader. The things that I'm going to read regardless of what anybody else says. It has zero effect on my schedule of books. As a buyer of books, I buy a lot of indie stuff, people that I know, and like it does not matter what the reviews say. I'm buying their book because I know them or I want to support them, and it just has nothing to do with what other people say. But again, like I'm working on participating in reviewing because I want to help those authors because I know that it does. And I feel like, look, there's just a slew of books out there that get read and bought every day and reviewed all the time. And like, they're monoliths. They don't need me, but the folks, the scrappy people in the indie scene, they do. And to have impact there, I just feel like is a greater use and value of like my voice and my participation in that side of things.
Yeah, that's basically, I mean, that's another way sort of putting it. Yeah, I do look at reviews. I will say that. I do look at reviews on Amazon. Um, Especially if I don't know the author. So I think that backs up your point that it helps the indies to have as many reviews as possible because it shows, you know, if it's an unknown, you know, all you've got is those reviews to go off of. And, people get picky about it. So if they start saying, "Oh, I really like this," I really like, it helps. It helps the indies. Yeah, and I don't think J.K. Rowling needs our reviews. I mean, it's, that kind of thing, if we're gonna go to extremes. But yeah, you're right. I try to do that too, and I need to get better at it myself.
I read reviews on products. That is still valuable to me. And I realize books are products too. But like I said, the people I know that put out books, like I'm picking it up and it's of no effect if there is a review or not for me.
Well, that's people that you know. But like if there's an unknown indie that you don't know, the review may have an effect, right? Or no?
I feel like because of the last year or so where I've been really trying to like dive into participating in the scene more, that I'm not out there looking at random stuff. I'm really kind of focused on the people that I know, the people that come and hang out in our spaces, or the like people in the book sale, people in group DMs that I'm in, what they're doing, and that kind of keeps me busy. In terms of like other reading that I do, say stuff I'm getting from the library, I got 3 interlibrary loans right now. They're all related to pension. It did not matter what the reviews were. I put in those requests for those interlibrary loans, and I'm reading them on Libby, which is what I use for audiobooks. The thinking there is like, ideally it's available. A lot of stuff isn't available. And if it is, and that's like my first way of accessing that material, then I'm just getting it. I'm not reading. I don't even know if there are reviews on there. I think there are. I think they do actually allow you to list reviews for like official outlets on Libby. So if you got some kind of award or something like that, then you can link to that when you do the release that gets picked up by Libby. But I don't think like random library users are able to put reviews in there. What do you got, Puppy? Got your hand raised.
Oh, I was just thinking, yeah, oh, never mind. Before I forget it, I have joined this space that my friend David has started about, and he briefly joined Writer's Block yesterday. He's really interested in science fiction.
Yeah, it was great.
And also, he's a great guy. He and his family actually have this whole foundation about it's just, he has a whole environmental project. Anyway, and you'd like him. He's I think 74, so he knows everything about 90s and computers in California, has all kinds of film and TV personal connections too. Anyway, he's just an interesting guy. And we've been talking about learning more about indigenous tribes and cultures. And so a thing that got posted in the space the other day was an article reviewing and listing several authors in that genre. Now, see, that's not quite a review, except it's reviews embedded in an article. I will use something like that to find new authors that I might not have otherwise seen. And so a thought I had too and these authors, I learned reading it, there's a professor who's of this in my very town. And so it was like, so the indie publishing niche thing, the idea of how are people going to find you? I like, that was great. I'm like, oh, look, here's a list of all of this. I'm sorry, I've tended to read more fantasy, not science fiction. So I'm like, oh, wow, here's some sci-fi authors. And we also talk about Bradbury Heinlein. So you see what I'm saying? Both as more materials proliferate with indie publishing, the question becomes, how does your reader find you? So I was thinking an article like that, in terms of your promotion, if you could get yourself listed on a list or in some kind of article, does that make sense? It's like, remember the days when people read magazines and there would be a section about, we recommend these reads. So it's sort of that's what I was thinking about. Lists, but come with a review. So I'm not just going to buy each of those books without reading the review, and then I'm going to choose. But I guess for me, I don't necessarily want to invest in an author, even if I'm just checking it out from a library, unless I've got a good reason to want to check them out.
That's fair, reasonable. Everybody's a different reader. Everybody has different preferences, and like reviews are valuable across the board. So one of the things I do every year is put out a big, huge video review of all the books I read that year. I've been doing it since, 2017 or 2018. So there's hundreds of books on there. Indie authors, weird, esoteric stuff, just across the board. Anything that I read. Well, not everything that I read, but anything that I read will go in there. And what that ends up becoming, I put it out as a podcast, so audio only, but I'll do it as a video release too, because then you get to see some covers. I talk a little bit, I do a little bit of review, a little bit of kind of introducing the story in general. It's not necessarily, I'm not trying to be a spoiler of like the story or anything. I try to tiptoe around like the outcomes, but some of this stuff's really short. So, in terms of like PKD stuff, his short stories, they're not incredibly long in some cases. Some of them are like novella length, but the thing there is like, it's doing a couple different things, right? There's folks I know that I feature on there, and then it's a piece of media that I'm able to release and promote around. And whether or not people expect it or whatever, it's something that has become like an annual thing, that I also kind of feed that into my book reviews. So I'll kind of tweet out stuff related to that book, and then I'll dress that up a little bit, and I'll turn that into a review that I put on Goodreads or Amazon. So I kind of repurpose some of that writing for those outlets as well. So if you're interested and want to go dig through the stuff that I've been reading for the last handful of years, it's all up there, whether you want the audio or the video.
Totally. Where is this, Michael? Sorry.
Well, it's on my YouTube channel, so I've got a playlist called Books, and like I put the commercials for my books on there, but I also have those book reviews. So it's like reviews and reading lists, and it'll have the year that was affiliated with it too. So it's all kind of broken up that way. Yeah. There's a link up above through the Anunnaki post that'll take you to my YouTube if you're not subscribed already. That way you'll get notifications, or maybe you have to turn on notifications. But, ideally, and that's another thing that I've been working on, is like trying to release material through my YouTube weekly. So my podcasts go out there. Luckily, like Spotify for Creators incorporated releases to YouTube last year at some point when Google shut down their podcast platform and kind of lumped it in with YouTube. So now their API will pull the RSS feed from Spotify for Creators and automatically load it up there. I have begun to prioritize that channel more than Spotify in general, just because like I am trying to grow my reach there and like hit certain numbers and stuff like that for my YouTube. So I would say, I've got a lot of material on there. There's probably like 200 pieces of media of all different sorts, articles, stuff that I turn into videos. All the like AI material that I release is on there, and just book reviews, the reading lists, the podcast stuff, little one-off pieces and things like that over the years. So I just kind of use it as a repository, and it's really this is another thing. So when I do my Substack promo for a new release, say for Pied Piper, what I do is I put that commercial up on YouTube, and then I'm able to embed that YouTube link into Substack and Medium, so it natively will load that video into those releases too. So like the people on the reading list, or that are finding things via Medium, which I find to be indexed better than Substack in general, in terms of like long tail readership of it. They will get not only the editorial material, but they'll see the video material as well embedded into that post. And, it does lead to views, and it does lead to additional engagement across the board.
And you mentioned the analytics that you're capturing. I was walking from Room Trip. Did you say you've set up a spreadsheet that you've personalized so you can gauge the effectiveness of all these platforms? And is that because we were talking the other day about each platform isn't necessarily optimized for the algorithms, for you to understand how the algorithms are working with your content? I'm just kind of wondering, how are you deciding to measure? And the other thing is, are you a human and not an android? Because you are incredibly productive. Are you? Okay, thank you for admitting it. Because I'm wondering too, your discipline. So if you're posting, here's what I read this year, I'm guessing you you discipline yourself to write a review immediately after you consume, read or watch or whatever, something.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have, you know what I mean? I feel like you're an octopus with like 50 arms, but said, in an admiring way.
Well, I've worked in media for a long time and done social media management professionally for as long. for all kinds of different stuff.
Oh, thank you for that makes me feel better. We're talking couple decades maybe?
Yeah.
Or okay. Whew. Okay, I can breathe again. Thank you.
Yeah. So
which makes your advice all the more valuable.
To a degree, sometimes. I think that we all have to individually do the testing to confirm our understanding or refute other people's biases. So, what I understand to be true at any given time changes, but I have priorities in terms of the outcomes that I want, which is why I'm not going to play to any one place's algorithm when that algorithm is prioritizing for something that I don't prioritize, which is for example, here on Twitter, likes. That's not a priority for me. Click through, video view, retweets, those are priorities for me. So that's, important and valuable. The likes, I find posts all the time that have way more likes, but have far fewer impressions and by minimal kind of feedback from other people. Say the AI group, we do some data sharing. So Neil, he's not here today, but Neil released an album in January, and because of his historic the way that he posts here, I believe the algorithm has deprioritized his posts when he puts links on them. So his click-through rate to drive people to Spotify to listen to the album was abysmal. But because I have always been posting links, and because I don't play for likes, the posts that I was making with a link to his album, even though the like engagement and the reach impressions were, comparable or maybe even a little bit lower, I was blowing out his click-through rate, a lot. And it's my suspicion that because you don't do those things, then it begins to say, okay, well, when you do that thing, you're penalized.
So we're not allowed to grow and evolve.
You just have to do it.
Find a buddy like you that does it. Because people have sort of informally been saying, oh, this app is not, honoring links. This is not the place anymore to post those. They're saying that kind of in general. So that's interesting what you're saying.
Well, they've said that all along. So I think Michael is, I say it, I think Michael's right. It's do what you
Dare
want.
you?
You need to ignore, I know, how dare I say it.
I need a moment.
No, oh, please. No, but joking aside, I think the better approach on here is to ignore the algorithm, which is basically what Michael's saying. Ignore all the monetization coaches and do this and do that and all that. I think that is the way to go, is to ignore it, just function on this is my focus at this point, is to just function on here however I feel like functioning, and not care about that. And also I think, expand into the other things, with links and all that stuff. I don't see X, especially now that they just did this thing where to have Premium Plus, they want $40 a month.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
That's madness. Come on. I've had Premium Plus until I saw that, and I was like, no. I pay $40 a month for Adobe Creative Suite, which includes, actual
tools.
Software. And Michael's like, that's too much. But I use InDesign, Photoshop, Audition. All of these things to produce my work. So you can say what you will about that. I've also got Firefly, so I can do, you know, AI art with it, say what you will about it. I've mixed emotions about quality and all these things, but it's like I don't see X having that kind of value to pay that to just be able to post on here and then to just be throttled by an algorithm. It's like I'm not gonna and basically and I posted this earlier today. My feeling on it is basically they want to make money off of ads. So if the majority of people on here are not going to pay $40 a month, I mean, I'll pay $8 a month for a blue check and to be able to kind of have longer posts and stuff. I don't see that as crazy. But the only reason they're doing it, from my opinion, is so that we all have to see ads, because they are going to make more money off ads than they will off of us, unless we're willing
100%.
to pay $40. That's what it is. They just want you to see ads, so they just priced everybody out.
Yeah, absolutely. And the value that they're delivering for the premium package is not there. There is nothing there that's worth that value.
It's obvious what they're doing. They got advertisers back. All the advertisers want to come in, and the advertisers are saying, yeah, but none of your users have to see ads. Well, we can fix that.
Right.
I mean, that's basically what they did. So all these people going around going, oh, is it worth it? And then my favorite part is there's a couple ex-employees on here that I think I follow them. They're all saying what a value $40 a month is for this app. I mean, I'm just like, are you guys just hot? I mean, I suspect they're getting it for free or a deep discount since they work for X.
Yeah, they could just turn it on for them.
Yeah, I mean, so it's just a joke. So it's like, use this platform how you want to use it, and just realize it's like it is what it is, just like any other platform.
My thinking on all social networks is the same way as when I was a musician playing out. Like, I am showing up to perform, and I want to be compensated for it. I'm not going to come to your venue and pay to play to your audience. That's not happening. So, in the grand scheme of things, they need to completely flip around the monetization scheme, because it's not going to work. And given like the exodus of people away from Twitter over the last 2 years, they have opened up a crack in their value prop, and it's being siphoned away. And yes, they need advertisers. Advertisers are always going to trump the subscribers. It's no different now than it was with newspapers 100 years ago. So, that's the nature of it. Poppy, you got your hand raised. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking if I see one more Temu ad. What do you think they're paying?
Just mute
for
Temu.
You can do that for.
Yeah.
I was just noticing just what kind of ad. I'm like, it's just they make crappy stuff. I wouldn't mind seeing an ad for a nice watch or something, but
yeah, I
anyway,
don't mind ads.
Okay,
they do not bother me.
Oh, no, I just kind of go right by them. But I was just trying to make a little joke that I'm seeing far more Temu ads, and I don't know if that means that they're everywhere. But I can mute them. I didn't know that.
Never buy anything from Temu. Hey, I just posted a post. I just put it in the pill.
Yeah, that's super long.
Yeah, it's a good. I think she hits all the points. She's missing the fact that she's not catching on to the fact she's hitting all the points from an artistic perspective. She's missing the point from a marketing perspective, which this is basically done so we all got to see ads. But I think she makes some good points, and then she used Grok to write it, which I find hysterical. But anyway, I threw it up there if you guys want to take a look at it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, all good. Well, we usually go for an hour here. I don't want to monopolize everybody's time, but if there's any final thoughts or anything like that, this is the opportunity to do it. or for the folks hanging out that haven't come up, if you guys want to, talk shop for a couple of minutes before we wrap it up, you're welcome to.
I'm good. I think I said my piece.
Nice.
But yeah,
you're grizzled now. You're today.
I got my brain. You don't want to go there. Trust me. I would just say, yeah, let's keep track of the next based book sale. I think that's something for everyone to sort of consider, kind of look into that a little bit more. Maybe that I should go listen to your podcast with the fella who does it.
Yeah, you should.
Say that.
Have a listen.
That's from in terms of authorship, these are things to focus on, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, this has gone well, and I do appreciate you guys for hanging out and making the conversation flow. And I want you to enjoy the rest of your day, and we will talk again before too long.